Hello again, citizens of the internet. I'm Papa Hefe, and welcome to my channel. Well, today's the day. It's Christmas Eve, and that means the end of the year is, well, it's upon us. For a lot of us, the 1 week that remains in 2019 is going to be just kind of a blur of getting together and doing the things that we do at the end of every year. So Christmas Eve is really just as much the end of the year as New Year's Day. And I thought this would be a good time to talk about the things that we promise ourselves at the end of the year. No matter what sort of person you are, at the end of the year we all make resolutions to ourselves. Even if you're not the type who normally makes New Year's resolutions, you still, at the end of every year, have a tendency to say to yourself, this year, I'm going to be a better version of me. And just like anyone else, I make those same resolutions to myself. I actually started to film this yesterday. I went to the next state over to have a talk with a person that I wronged a long time ago, and I'd never apologized to them for it. I mean, this person is hardly in my life anymore, and I'm certainly not going to say that they're blameless in everything that happened between us. But if I didn't go out of my way to apologize for the hand that I had and everything, I wouldn't be being the best version of myself. And there's absolutely nobody who would have held any sort of consequences over me if I had never done this. I could have gone the rest of my life and never spoken to them again. And you know what? Everything would have been fine. Nobody would have known. But that's not entirely true, because I would have known. And I really believe that that ability to hold yourself accountable for your own shortcomings is one of the great thresholds between just being an adult and being a grown-up. And so while I was thinking about, you know, holding myself accountable for this shortcoming like a decade ago, what are the things that I can hold myself accountable for now?
A few minutes later.
So my camera died while I was talking about quitting smoking. And it was only at that moment that I realized that I was in such a hurry to get out and get a ride in on this beautiful day that I forgot my backpack where my backup batteries are kept. So I had to turn around to the house. Alright, so 2020. Yeah, quitting smoking is the first thing. The second thing I want to do in 2020, the second thing that I'm going to do in 2020 is get in better shape. I was about the same size and the same build, which is what I would generously describe as wiry, from about 15 to 35. And then I got married and I got sedentary and I had kids, and wouldn't you know it, yeah, a little bit of the dad life. Eventually you accumulate a dad bod. And I mean, while there's definitely a vocal movement for acceptance of and even an oddly kind of edible worship of the dad bod, that's cool. I'm all in support of that, but that doesn't mean I want one. Now I want 2020 to be a year of improvements to my channel as well. And I know that for all intents and purposes I just got rolling this year. I'd made a bunch of content before, but it wasn't motorcycle stuff. It was mostly video gaming content, and basically in a different type of videos altogether. And so what I'm doing now, I'm basically starting from scratch. Oh, they brought it up to 75. These used to be 50 cents. Wait, what? Oh, are you kidding me? Man, I came all the way out to this little grocery store in the middle of freaking nowhere because they used to have these 50-cent Dr. Peppers out front. And now not only are their soda machines no longer 50 cents, but they're out of Dr. Pepper. Man, I could have paid 75 cents for a soda at any freaking grocery store. Didn't have to come all the way down to the Piggly Wiggly. Alright, where was I? Getting Country Barbecue. I gotta check that out. But, improvements to the channel. Alright, so yeah, I know that for all intents and purposes, I started the channel in 19. I mean, I'd made some content before that, but that was mostly video game stuff, and just in an entirely different milieu than motovlogs. And while I've definitely learned some things, and I can see looking back where my own, editing and whatnot has improved, there's always room for improvement. And the place where I in particular need improvement is with scripting on videos where I've got a topic that I want to address and I want to talk about a thing. I have a tendency to forget my bullet points, and I'll have these long silences that I have to edit out. It would be good if I could just, stream of consciousness that, just rattle it off, but I'm not there yet. So that's a thing that I'm going to work on over the course of the year. Another thing I want to improve is just the overall breadth of my content. I've got people I'm talking to, I've got things that I'm doing going on in the background. I'm working on things to expand what we cover on this channel, and still keep it motorcycle centric, obviously, because motorcycles are life, but we cover a slightly broader spectrum of motorcycle related topics, and maybe new bikes. We'll see. There are definitely some things that I would love to do to the bike over the next year. They take kind of a backseat to, practical things. I'm a family man, I got kids and a mortgage and 2 brand new bikes. I got obligations, man. I can't just throw a bunch of money at my bike. And so, yeah, I've got things that I'd like to do over the next year. And a lot of those things, yeah, they'll happen eventually, but eventually is the operative word in that phrase there. Part of it is that the powertrain on this is still under warranty. The Milwaukee 8 is still a relatively new platform, and they still do things like mid-model year part number changes. And if I want that support to continue to be paid for by the manufacturer, then there are things that I can't do to it. Well, I could put slip-ons on this and it'd be fine, but if I want to put a full exhaust on it, then that voids the powertrain warranty. And for what I'd like to do eventually, it only makes sense to go straight full pipes, because eventually I'm going to have to get rid of the headers. I'm going to try and get this in shot. There's this bug right here that I don't know if you can see, but I can totally see it on the outside and on the inside. And it keeps making me think there's something like moving up there, like a big bug or a rock. I guess there is a big bug, but like a big bug or a rock or something about to hit my visor. Every time I glance up, it keeps freaking me out. The third thing I want to improve on my channel this year is to get on a more consistent and prolific release schedule. Thus far I've been pretty adamant about getting at least 1 video out a week, and I prefer to get 2 out, but that's about as strict as I've gotten with myself. And I think given recent changes in my life that I can up that to 3 a week comfortably without having to shortchange anyone or anything. Now that said, while it's 72 degrees today, it was like 40 degrees a couple of days ago, and it dipped down into the 30s a day or 2 before that. And I am what are you doing? I hate this intersection so bad. it's dipped down into the low 30s, upper 20s. And on those days, it's usually raining too. I don't mind riding in that, but I really don't like the idea of taking my GoPro out in that. Even the models that are ostensibly waterproof, by the time you've done all the modifications to them necessary to do motovlogging, they're not waterproof anymore. Riding with one on your helmet in freezing rain just sounds like an absolutely terrible idea. Basically what I'm saying is that while I totally plan on ramping up my production schedule, that's not going to come until like spring, because I prefer not to do the cold. I'll do the cold, but I prefer not to. Woo, I bet all these people are headed into town. Last minute Christmas shopping, huh? That's a matter for another day. Today, it's a beautiful, beautiful day out, and I'm so glad that I could share this Christmas ride with those of you who have to spend your holidays indoors. You've been fantastic. I'm Papa Hefe. Stay shiny side up out there, keep it rubber side down. Peace.